everyone, we are the group 1 from BSN 1L and we are going to talk about Pictograph. So for this agenda, we are going to talk about the course, first the introduction, and then we have the description, some definition of terms, the steps and procedures how to do it. There will be sample problems and its solutions, interpretation and conclusion, and also references. So, we have here the brief introduction of pictographs. They were used all over the world since the 9000 BC and became popular around 4,000 years later when they began to develop into logographic writing systems. But the first pictorial signs appeared in 30,000 BC in the form of cave paintings. So we have here an example. An early discovery of pictographs and how it came to be. So in statistics, pictographs are charts that are used to represent data using icons and images relevant to the data. So a key is often included in a pictograph that indicates what each icon or image represents. So all icons in the pictogram must be of the same size, but we can use the fraction of an icon to show the respective fraction of that amount. So let us understand the concept of pictographs using examples, or we will get to know the description first, and we will show you some sample problems and solutions and their conclusions.
Pictograph, also called a pictogram, picto, and also an icon, is an ideogram that conveys its meaning through its pictorial resemblance. A pictograph or pictogram represents the frequency of data as pictures or symbols. Each picture or symbol may represent one or more units of the data. In other words, a pictograph uses pictures and symbols to convey information about the provided data. This is one of the simplest ways to represent data, and reading a pictograph is made extremely easy as well. The best way to explain a pictogram is through an example.
Terms of definition. Icon. Pictographs are charts where numbers are represented by icons to make statistics more appealing and understandable. A K often indicates an icon's meaning. However, a fraction of an icon can be used to show the relevant fraction of that quantity. Ideogram. An ideogram is a graphic, image, or symbol that conveys something without articulating the sounds that comprise its name. Pictorial. The expression or illustration regarding the different information about any object or objects or activities through pictures or picture symbols is called pictorial representation or pictogram. Next is resemblance. It is an ideogram that expresses its meaning by resembling a physical object. Pictographs are typically utilized in writing and graphic systems when the characters are heavily pictorial. Frequency of data. Pictographs define the frequency of data using visuals or symbols that are relevant to the data. The pictograph is a simple technique to portray statistical data. A pictograph uses a key to signify the symbol's value. Next is symbols. A pictograph is a graph that shows numerical information by using picture symbols or icons to represent the data sets. The advantage of using a pictograph is that it is easy to read. Next is units. It is common practice to define and utilize a unit of measurement as a standard for all measurements of the same kind, whether by agreement or by law. Data. By employing visual symbols or icons to represent datasets, a pictograph is defined in graph theory. Using pictogram is advantageous because it is simple to read. Next is statistics. To illustrate statistical data, a pictograph employs pictograms. Visualizing facts with pictograph is generally more difficult. To minimize inadvertent or deliberate data misrepresentation, pictographs should be utilized with caution. And the last one is logographic. Logogram or logograph is a type of printed character that depicts a word. Terms of definition. Icon. Pictographs are charts where numbers are represented by icons to make statistics more appealing and understandable. A K often indicates an icon's meaning. However, a fraction of an icon can be used to show the relevant fraction of that quantity. Ideogram. An ideogram is a graphic, image, or symbol that conveys something without articulating the sounds that comprise its name. Pictorial. The expression or illustration regarding the different information about any object or objects or activities through pictures or picture symbols is called pictorial representation or pictograph. Next is resemblance. It is an ideogram that expresses its meaning by resembling a physical object. Pictographs are typically utilized in writing and graphic systems when the characters are heavily pictorial. Frequency of data. Pictographs define the frequency of data using visuals or symbols that are relevant to the data. A pictograph is a simple technique to portray statistical data. A pictograph uses a key to signify the symbol's value. Next is symbols. A pictograph is a graph that shows numerical information by using picture symbols or icons to represent the data sets. The advantage of using a pictograph is that it is easy to read. Next is units. It is common practice to define and utilize a unit of measurement as a standard for all measurements of the same kind, whether by agreement or by law. Data. By employing visual symbols or icons to represent datasets, a pictograph is defined in graph theory. Using pictogram is advantageous because it is simple to read. Next is statistics. To illustrate statistical data, a pictograph employs pictograms. Visualizing facts with pictograph is generally more difficult. To minimize inadvertent or deliberate data misrepresentation, pictographs should be utilized with caution. And the last one is logographic. Logogram or logograph is a type of printed character that depicts a word or morphological component.
The steps and procedures on how to make a pictograph. Step 1 is to collect your data. Gather the information of the category you'd like to represent, then gather the data by appropriate means. Then you must make a list or table, then finally review the data you've gathered. Step 2 is to pick your symbol. Pick a symbol or a picture that actually represents your data. Because for example, you're drawing a pictograph of different kinds of animals in a zoo, then a symbol of a fruit or vegetable would be highly confusing, right? So you must pick your symbol carefully. Step 3 is to assign a key. Sometimes the frequency can be too high at times, then one symbol can't represent one's frequency. Then you must choose a numerical value that one symbol will represent. Then take note that this numerical value must be written along with the pictograph. Step 4 is to draw the pictograph. In drawing your pictograph, you must make two columns that represents the category and the data. Then you must draw the actual symbols that will represent the frequencies. Remember that the symbols can be drawn as fractions as well if the frequency is not a whole number. Step 5 and the final step is to review your data. Finally, review your data one last time and make sure it accurately represents the information that you wanted to convey or relay, and don't forget to check the labeling of your graph.
So these are the sample problems. Sample problem number 1 is number of red colored boxes sold by William shopkeeper in 6 days of a week. So these are the days. Monday is 4, Thursday is 2, Wednesday is 3, Thursday is 5, and Friday is 8, and lastly Saturday is 1. And this is the second problem. It shows the different month of the year in girls of a class who were born in a particular month. These are the months: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So in January, 3 girls were born, and then February is 4 girls were born. March is 4, April is 5, and May is 4. June is 2, July is 6, August is also 6, September is 8, October is 9, November is 5, and December is 3.
How to solve the given sample problems. So, the question to the first given sample problem is, how many red boxes were sold by William in 6 days? To answer, in Monday there were 4, Tuesday there were 2, Wednesday 3, Thursday 5, Friday 8, and Saturday 1. So add all. 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 8 plus 1 is equals to 23. The total red boxes sold by Williams on 6 days are 23. Next one, the question to the second given problem is, how many girls were born in the month of September and October? To answer, in September, 8 girls were born. In October, 9 girls were born. To complete this, therefore, how many girls total were born in September and October? So add 8 plus 9 is equals to 17. So the total girls born in September and October is 17.
So, generalization, conclusion of our topic. A pictograph is a graph that uses visual symbols or icons to represent data sets to display numerical information. The use of a pictograph has the advantage of being simple to read. We usually see a pictograph when we were young. There were a lot of graphs when we were young, but the graphs we used are pictographs. As you can see in the questions, we utilize a pictograph as a graph. To be honest, the pictures help with mathematics learning. We all know that we get sometimes bored when we see numbers, we tend to get scared. But if we're going to use a pictograph, we can see the pictures, and it will help us learn, and it will make us understand a lot more easy.
For our study references, Here's are the list of the books and sites that we help along the way. Thank you.
Thank you for joining today's class. We hope you learned a lot and had fun listening.